Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is a noisy microphone, and if you move it, it makes a loud noise. Hi, I'm Mike Matthews. Welcome to the show that isn't called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It isn't called. It is called. It is called Mike's Daily Podcast. Welcome to the show, and it's gonna be kind of fast. I think you know it's Monday wherever I am, maybe wherever you are, wherever you go. Thanks for having Mike's Daily Podcast on to help you know things. It's episode 1920.
Mike's Daily Podcast
1920. That weekend went by fast, so
Mike's
I guess people
Daily
in the Bay Area
Podcast
are finally getting all their supplies back because their food went bad and they had to throw it out. That always upsets me. Food that goes bad, food that gets wasted. Oh, that was like my big worry. Not the fires, but a fire could come through Podcaster Valley. Actually, something smelled like smoke this morning. No, I was more worried about my food going bad and the ice all melting. Wah, wah. And really short pants. Why are we, well, particularly millennials, wearing short pants, like really tiny skinny jeans that don't belong on them because they're not skinny? Why is that happening? And why am I doing it too? And I'm not a millennial, but I put on these pants and I look and I go, wait, how did these get so freaking short? What did I do? They're floods now. It's so embarrassing. You get to see the sock I'm wearing. I don't want you to see that. The sock with the little hula girls on the sock. That's kind of cool. Hula girls on socks. Hulas. What are they called? Hula ladies? So a guy I know I work with, he's got this interesting life where because he has knowledge about how to fix radio stuff, he gets a free trip.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I think, he might pay for the airplane ticket, but basically he gets free board and room and board. No, wait. He gets a little bit of food, maybe, a place to stay, because he can fix stuff at this radio station in Kauai. And it's a very eclectic station. And I was listening to him on this station, and I do not have a podcast picture of him at this station, but in fact, it's of me. And it's of me and my lovely lady friend. We were at this German restaurant that I was talking a lot about in recent podcasts. And so there's a little picture of her give me a little peck on the cheek. And there's Basil right there barking at the whole situation, going, yes, German food, it's good. Why don't you give me more of the... Why didn't you have a doggy bag, Mike? Why did you eat all the food and not leave any for me, pig? That's what he's saying. But yeah, so back to the trip to Kauai, which I went to years ago. I was in Kauai. Actually, I had the chance as a young person, probably 16 or so, to go to Kauai with my mom. It's always fun when you got a relative that has money and you don't. And they go, hey, I'm going to take you on a trip to Alaska. Let's go. I'm going to take you on a trip to Hawaii. Let's go. To Russia. I'm recruiting you to be a diplomat and a secret agent. Let's go. It's wonderful. So I went to Kauai years ago, and I remember it being very beautiful. And beautiful. Every which way you look, there's beauty. And it takes your breath. When you see that much beauty and all the crap you deal with day to day in your life, it goes away. Everything that you were worrying about back on the mainland, it's gone. Now you're on island time. So this coworker got to go there, and he actually was on the radio at this radio station, and he texted me, I'm on the radio right now. So I listened on the stream. And a couple funny things happened while he was on the air. First off, they went off the air because they lost power. I guess Kauai, that tends to happen. They'll lose power kind of like we do in California. Jeez. Only we pay... Actually, they're both crazy expensive, aren't they? Hawaii and California? I mean, I hear Hawaii's worse than California. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, so what they do is the power went off. They had to turn their own little generator on. And this all happened as I was listening, because they disappeared for a little bit. I was listening to the stream on their website. You know how you can click play and listen to the station. Like you can click play at MikesDailyPodcast.com and listen to this podcast, this important podcast. Yes, so he disappeared for a little bit and then came back, and they were talking about the generator. And then somebody showed up and started playing the guitar live on the air. That was fun. And then they wrapped up this show, and I wish I knew the name of the show, but I don't. And they wrapped it up with this British guy talking, who was in the studio. And then he, I guess, was some sort of yoga master, or taught yoga teacher. And he led everyone in an Om. They all did an Om together in Kauai. That was an interesting thing. It's nice when your job, which let me just let you know that radio does not pay well. But people do their little side hustles and things. Because despite the fact that radio doesn't pay well, there are skills involved with radio. No matter what you do in this business, there are skills involved, especially if you're going to fix radio stations. You have to understand a lot of stuff that the typical human brain doesn't know. Modulation, power, you have to know FCC regulations. And a lot of that stuff you fall in love with. It's like when you fall in love with a sport, you love everything about it, all the rules. Oh, if the ball fumbles here, it's that kind of a penalty, and blah, 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 whatever it is, traveling. And in radio, there's all these rules, and some people, after a while, they just love it, and they absorb it, and they have to be part of it. But then they see the paycheck, and they go, why? Why did I pick this profession? Dang it. Why couldn't I gotten into something a little more... But you know what? As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valleyton. I thought about that for a long time. The Podcaster Valley Mont, by the way, is where we are, at the last place on earth. Cafe anyway. And I thought to myself, because I've been in radio since I was, I think, 17, right out of high school. And I've loved it. This is something I love to do. And someone once told me, a couple people told me this actually, do something that you love and the money will follow. Well, that's not always true, is it? I mean, if you are trying to make it as a musician and you're playing at coffee houses and nobody notices you, but yet the type of music you do probably has an audience and someone's going to be interested, and you put it up on the web, and I know there's a lot of people doing that exact same thing, so you get lost in the shuffle. But somehow, if you can find that right audience, you're golden. Everything good will follow. So people got into the medical profession as we had that big economic downturn. Remember about 10 years ago, the big recession, the Great Recession as they called it? And a lot of people got into the medical industry because they're like, I need to make money. And there's always going to be health problems. People are always going to have health issues. I need to become part of that so I can make a bunch of buck. And what ended up happening was the wages started to go down in some areas of the medical industry because there were too many people. It was a flood. And the cost for school went up. And it became a bad situation. People couldn't pay off the debt that they had incurred by becoming someone, an employee of a hospital or nurse or a doctor, and so there was that. So when you're trying to chase the money, it can end up being, it's not always the wisest thing. It's good to chase your passion, your dream, your bliss. Yes, that wonderful expression. So I guess that's what this Monday show is all about, is going, why is Mike at the radio station at 6:56 in the morning? Well, because the guy that I was talking about that went to Hawaii, he usually does this shift and he's sick. So I'm filling in for him. But that doesn't mean at some point I won't be able to go to Kauai and maybe have an interesting adventure like he did. and then get sick and have someone fill in for me. Being a manager, asking questions you should never have to ask. That's what I am. I'm an operations manager, and I often have to ask questions that I don't want to ask and force myself into situations that I don't want to be in. But that's part of being a manager. And people do stupid stuff, and you end up asking questions that, like, a 4-year-old would hear that question and go like, well, duh. The answer's stupid. You would never do that. And by the way, thank you, Billie English or Eilish or whatever her name is, for bringing that term back. Duh. In her big song, was it Bad Guy? Bad Boy or something? She does that. Duh. Yeah, so people just, when you're a manager, I don't know. The average employee, I guess, doesn't know how to think. So you as a manager have to do the thinking for them? That's not right. That's not the appropriate use of this position. Or why this position exists. It shouldn't be for that, but unfortunately is. Look who's out here at Cafe Anyway, where we are in Podcastro Valley, Mont today. Let's say hi.
Hello, my commercial. It's Madame Rootabega. I have never been a manager.
Oh, no? What? Nothing?
No, I was president once.
Oh, President of the United States?
Yes.
Did you withdraw troops from... I see, this whole Turkish Kurd thing, it's just bizarre. It's weird. This is all over the news when you go to the national news. When you're done reading all about PG&E for the 3,000th time, you go to this story about the Kurds and Turkey, and now the Kurds are allying with Syria when they were just our allies. Allies, Middle East, that whole thing, it gets complicated. And so Trump said, it's complicated, let's leave. It's a mess. And if I can get to that, nope, I can't get to that sound effect, sorry. You're just going to have to believe me, I have a sound effect where Trump goes, it's a mess. And so we did get out, we are pulling troops out of the Middle East. And the Middle East is complicated. I can't ever get into a discussion about the Middle East because I always end up offending somebody. You think you followed down the rabbit hole all the way to what might be the right way of thinking of something, and then you're wrong. You're wrong! Because it all comes back to you being an American and you just don't know. So Trump said, screw it, we're out of there. We're done. No more. And now all these issues, well, if you listen to NPR or you listen to the Economist podcast or anything that has, let's just say, a more liberal spin, you're going to get total Trump did a mistake, and look, he did another mistake. He did another boo-boo, and the United States policy is bad. But I don't know, because I just don't understand it. It's tough, and you shouldn't just throw your hands up in the air and go, forget it, I'm walking away. Let's just say it's a process of trying to understand this. And so I listen to all types of media to try and figure it out. And I wish you the best of luck trying to figure it out. But it's sad, and people are getting killed, and it's terrible. And it brings in Syria with the Assad guy, who seems to be a crazy ruler dude. And Turkey is doing crazy stuff, so I don't know. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we really like that picture of you and your lovely lady friend there.
Yeah, romance. Do you know that?
Yes, that's what we need a little more of. This love, sweet love thing is what this world needs a little bit more of. Thank you, Burt Bacharach, for that song. And don't waste your food if you can help it. I don't know, there was some stupid thinking going along in the Bay Area about this whole PG&E. We knew PG&E was going to turn off power. So what did we do? We ran to the store and bought food? When you know your fridge is going to not work? It's going to be off, so all your food's going to go bad? You should wait till after the power... We're going to go... Now, the buying water thing I can kind of understand, even though the water never got turned off. Although I think I did get an email from our water district people saying, well, we won't... The stuff we use is electricity run, and we won't be able to pump you as much water, so... Yeah, it's good to have the water. That's true. But still, the food I don't get, and it just was going bad. And gas prices, at least where I am, have stayed at crazy level, but... and it's not going to go down anytime soon because of the aforementioned Middle East stuff. So, anyway, follow the happy things in life, and the blissful things, and the good things. And I hope the best for you on this Monday, and I hope it's a good week. Hopefully, I will talk to you again soon, and you can tell me what you think. 336MM Daily. You can give me a call. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast is. It is podcast. It is a daily podcast, is what I'm saying. So we will do another one for you soon. I guess it's time to wrap it up. Next show, it's going to be Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the Engineer. Thank you for listening. And for more about Mike's Daily Podcast, here's Ariel.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!